Whoa, hey, that's okay. Lesson learned. Make sure that the ring light isn't blocking the camera. Hello, y'all. This is another test stream where I'm going to I'm testing out this brand new laptop setup. I don't have. Do I not have audio? Can you hear me? I don't see my okay, yeah, the Yeti Nano is working. Good, okay. It's just in a unusual place in my audio mixer, so I don't know how to see it. Does this sound good, by the way? You can hear on YouTube. Perfect, perfect. Brand new microphone. Bought for the purpose of being portable. Let me explain what we're doing here, everyone. Let me explain what is up. Um, for a time now, I've been looking into getting a setup where I can a setup a stream setup for going on the go. Specifically, I'm going to Japan in 2 months, and I would like to be able to do my streams from Japan. I'd like to be able to do like one viewer level stream a week, and like also at the same time tell you everything I did during that week, so I don't have to like do 3 weeks of catch up when I get around to it after I return home. That seems like a good idea. To that end, I got a new laptop. Well, I got it for work also, but work paid for a lot of it. But I got a new laptop that's should be pretty good for this. I got a whole setup. Let me show you. I got these. I showed this off last week. This was the setup as of last time, and here it is annotated. You can see there's a ring light to light me up. There's the two-screen laptop in which I can do the OBS and the chat watching. There is a monitor, portable monitor that is lag-free, which is going to be good. I had a stream deck for hotkeys set up, and also a portable switch dock to capture the switch off. And a microphone dongle and a power thing. Not terribly important. I'll say I had some major issues with this setup last week when I was testing. The there were some issues with like frame rate capturing. The capture card had some frame rate issues, especially in more complicated games. The stream deck was being weirdly slow about some hotkeys, which was weird. And also, the microphone dongle connecting to a lavalier mic, which connected to a lapel mic, that sounded like shit. So, I have put in the following changes. Let me just do the next one. You can sort of see it's a different setup now. Apologies about the image quality. The phone is now part of the setup, so I had to grab an iPad, a really old iPad, to take the picture. But to explain the differences real fast, first off, I'm using a Stream Deck app instead of the device itself, which will save a lot on like storage. I won't have to bring that big hefty stream deck to Japan, which is a nice thing to realize that I can just do. I have seen this app before and sort of was hesitant about embracing it, going all in on it. But then I realized that I could get it lifetime for $50, which honestly that's less money than I paid for the collapsible, slightly portable dock thing that I was going to use to prop the Stream Deck up. It has like a stand, but it's really big, so I got one that's a little smaller for like $50. I might as well just use my phone. That makes a lot more sense for this, and the stuff I have been doing on the phone, I can just do on the laptop screen with the mouse. I can just put a web browser up with the viewer levels website on there. That should be fine. Furthermore, other changes there. You can see that there's a Blue Yeti Nano. I got a Blue Yeti Nano, which is like a Blue Yeti, which is my normal microphone, but a wee bit smaller. It's not that much smaller. It's maybe like half the size, but I'm going to go with it. And with the stand, I think it's gonna be like perfectly reasonable to bring to Japan. I would describe its size as like one half of a water bottle. And I'm definitely gonna be bringing my water bottle and umbrella to Japan. It's like half an umbrella in size, roughly. Maybe a little more than that, but round about there. I think this will sound good. I think it will be portable, and yeah. And there's some other minor differences, like the switches behind there. I put the chat on the bottom screen rather than the top screen, and put OBS up top, sort of reversed how I had it last time for more convenience. But there is one more thing that I'll say I fixed, because I mentioned last time, I mentioned it, the audio was really bad, so I don't know if you could really understand what I was saying. I mentioned last time that I was having issues with the OBS, the Stream Deck having its like sequential commands being really, really laggy, where like I would go back and forth between like the emotes and the schedule, and you could see like a noticeable delay, like things were taking like seconds for all disappear, like the title would disappear and then the text, and then you would see it, it'd be like but where the things were appearing and disappearing. I figured out that the cause of that was a goofy setup that I had, where I have been using Google Docs to like back up the Stream Deck setup and OBS setup on the PC, and use symlinks to fool the laptop into thinking those remote copies were its own local copies, and making it so that OBS and Stream Deck would use those. When I undid that and created local copies for both of those things, uh, turns out the performance issues vanished. The Stream Deck is the iPhone Stream Deck is working great now. It's instantaneous, and my initial tests of like more complicated games seem to show a very good frame rate on an OBS, which would suggest that the performance issues last time were solely because I set up a goofy setup on this laptop that no one has ever done before, and probably no one would recommend doing, unless you're talking about something that is so not performance intensive where it doesn't actually matter whether it's a local copy or if it's in Google Drive, being constantly trying to update itself and constantly trying to like back itself up. Probably all that was causing a lot of performance issues as well. Also, I'll say I did just I did just launch the Pikmin thing. Let me see if the Pikmin are working. Well, they are working, but I need to aim them properly. Is that audible? Can you hear that? Oh, you probably can't hear that. Don't worry about it for now. I'll fix it later. But I think with those changes in mind, I think the Pikmin thing can run at the same time as the other stuff. So yeah, that'll be cool. I don't know how I'll get that working, because on the... Oh, I can have it just output to the Blue Yeti Nano, and then I can have it so the Blue Yeti Nano is being captured for that. That's actually quite doable. Okay, I'll set that up later. But yeah, bunch of setup changes that should make this a lot more feasible and result in a smooth thing, a smooth stream, smooth sailing, all that. Um, so, without further ado, I'd like to get into what I plan to do during this test stream, which is to play 40 of my own levels, all in a row, lightning round style, in order to like prove out that this can do Mario Maker without any issues. You know, hopefully we'll see smooth frame rates, good performance, whatever throughout. I figured that all of my 40 levels should be a good enough test for whether viewer levels will work properly. Also, I'll say I would like to finish this before House of the Dragon, which is in 2 hours from now about. So let's do that. Let me bring up the heads and see us the lightning. There it is. There's the lightning. Perfect. That's all working great. Let's go. And yeah, 40 levels. The 40 levels I did before the lightning round was a thing, or before my Super World started development. Let's do it. I'm not sure how long this will take, but I am curious. I'll say, I've been meaning low-key to do like a stream where I just go through every level that I've ever done. That's been an idea in the back of my head for a while now. I'll say, as far as like the Super World goes, we'll do that when, we'll do a stream like that when I'm actually done with it, which will be, I don't know, which will be sometime in the future? There's 2 levels left, and they both seem like tough nuts to crack. Well, one of them does. Coincidentally, that one tough nut to crack is a dark level, just like this level, which is a dark level where the gimmick is there's lights so you can see, but it's more for thematic purposes than anything. You know, I've embraced the dark just to sort of play up the theming of a tomb, which I thought was fun. I've always said of this level, that I think I went a little too far in putting, like, one enemy on basically every platform. And I feel like this is a good lesson in how a little bit of restraint is, a good idea. A little bit of restraint, a little bit of, like, holding back. You don't need every platform to have a challenging enemy on it. You can just have some be just, yeah, I run and jump and it feels good. And then some enemies come and complicate that. You know, you need to mix it up as far as, like, the texture of a level goes, I guess, is what I would say. Next up, the second level I ever made in Mario Maker 2, U-Bend Yard. The first one was Tomb of the Great Galumba. I'll say with this level, I also made some mistakes here. The main mistake you can see is that the mushroom goes into that little pit, and if you want to retrieve it, if you're small, you're going to have to land on it to like collect it and get it to respawn. That's not good. I should have caught that. I should have realized that was a problem. And it doesn't help that the other mushroom in this first half of the level is right here, and if you miss that, or otherwise, you know, get out of there before, you can't go back, because that guy's blocking the way. Those two are a little bit awkward as far as mushroom placements go, and I look back on that and I say, ooh, I could have done better. Still, this is a cool level. You go out and back, you get some on-offs. One more problem, this question mark block, it's not obvious that it contains a power-up, and you might just overlook it entirely. I feel like that should have been a power-up on a rail so that people would know what they were looking at. So basically, turn those other power-ups into regular ones that don't get away from you, and also change up that middle one. Those are the criticisms I have of this level. That said, it is a nice level, and it does use my, perhaps, favorite gimmick, which is that spring that springs an enemy forward as if they're jumping. I love that gimmick, and I'm really low-key trying to fit it into the last level of the Super World. I'm pretty sure, of my Super World. I'm pretty sure it doesn't go in the Dark level, unfortunately, which is the next level, but It'd be really nice if I could make it work for the one just after that. We'll see. We'll see. That gimmick was like my first gimmick ever for a level that was really good that I made back in Mario Maker 1, so I have somewhat of an attachment to it. On this level, you gotta... This is my first clear condition level. You have to use a shell to clear the way and do a thing. I'll say with this one, if you don't know that you can throw a shell upwards, that can be a bit of a challenge. And I feel like, you know... I feel like, in general, this level sort of taught me that, that like, a regular length clear check level is a little long. And probably should be looking at more of a half length or a even better 20-second level for these things. So, you know, these first 3 levels, I'll say, they were a bit of a learning experience, a bit of getting the sea legs back. I do think there's great things about them, and, you know, clearly these two, they got hundreds of likes. Delfino Plaza Bowling and Baddies, even with the benefit of 5 years, has only gotten just under 100. It's probably, like, the least popular of my older levels. Yeah, the Mario Maker 1 ports are actually a little less popular, it turns out. Probably... Also, I'll say, like, probably could be, like, release timing part of that. The remake ones were released, like, all at the same time, so they probably ate each other's lunches, honestly. And I guess that even affects, like, long-term level performance. Well, then again, you know, how much of that initial time was based around... How much of that initial success was based around, like, submitting them to streamers such as myself? Probably a bunch. And level share and all that. And if I have, like, 5 levels to share, obviously each one of them is gonna get less attention. Whatever. It's all good. This one is a nice Air Super Mario Brothers, Super New You, level based around these swinging things. That was fun to build one based off, like, sort of a Sky Garden type thing. You sometimes see this in, like, Donkey Kong Countries, or maybe not Donkey Kong Countries, I'm maybe more thinking about Jungle Beat specifically, but I thought it was a fun way to theme a sky level. Let me grab my water and take a drink. Thirsty. I'll say, by the way, when I say lightning round style, for those who don't know, or for those who are wondering if I mean, like, lightning round style or last call style, because they do tend to differ a little bit sometimes, I'll say that checkpoints refresh the 5 tries. I'll say that each death depletes one of the 5 tries. That makes sense, right? And also, finishing a level will refresh them. It won't be like, it won't be like that every time I die, it's just one less and that maintains throughout. Like, no. It'll refresh every chance possible. That said, I know my own levels like the back of my hand, so don't expect me to die that much. This is one of my most popular stages, by the way. Might be literally the most popular. It's 1,900 likes right now. Might be my most popular stage. It's a vertical stage that was inspired by the rocket level, the rocket barrel level from DKC3, the waterfall level where you take rocket barrels up to increasingly high heights, and it sort of transitions through, transitions from level to level using those things. And same thing with these extendos. as the level calls them. There's also some sliding, and also some other things to ground pound on the ground. It's a quite successful level. And I think literally my first vertical level, outside of the Mario Maker 1 vertical level that I did, like, as a weird hack, right? Outside of that. Very good. I did a whole series. A whole series of levels, 4 3D World levels in a row, just to, like, get the knack of it, and just to get my head around, like, all the different options, and also the options it doesn't have. This was, of course, new at the time, so it was a very novel thing. Very novel thing, of course. "3D World" and New You, like, as far as, like, laptop performance goes, would be the ones I would be concerned about. But my guess is, now that the performance issues are, now that I'm using, like, a local thingamajig. By the way, this level was inspired by DKC2's, Black Ice Battle? Black Ice Battle. In that it's a downhill level, where you're sort of going level by level. The first half... In the first half, you're more sliding down. In the second half, you're more falling down. I thought that was a nice, escalation of the basic idea. And makes it a little more harrowing. You'll see that there are cases where, when you're bouncing off a guy, you have time to think and go, "Oh, I don't want to fall through the ghosts." And, maybe you won't fall through the ghosts as a result. Sliding is, I think, so underrated. Sliding is a great mechanic. More levels should have sliding in it. Yes. The setup is working great, by the way. So far I've seen no performance issues. I'm sort of keeping an eye on the CPU and the frames per second. It's been smooth. I'll say I also did a test of the alerts. Like, I have some complicated alerts that quite honestly gave my last PC a lot of trouble. My older PC a lot of trouble from, like... When did Overwatch 1 come out? That's how old the old PC was. It's in a closet, but you know what I mean. It still would be that old. It's just, not in use anymore. This is my first hybrid water level, by the way. Hey. Hybrid in the sense of there's a water level, not in the sense of subworld, overworld, one water, one not. I guess if you count ones like that, I have had hybrid water levels before, but this is the first one that was like DKC3 style. I think the touch point was... Was it the Riverside levels? I think it was the Riverside levels. Though I guess it could also have been the other ones, the boardwalk levels just as easily. Very nice one. What was I saying about performance and stuff? I think we're good. The alerts worked great. They performed a lot better than they did on the last PC, and the last PC was well good enough to do a stream, other than maybe the alerts being a little bit laggy sometimes, which is nice to realize. It's good to know that once I fix my goofy setup, it works better than the last PC and good enough to run everything super smoothly. The only question, as far as, like, the Japan trip goes, by the way, this is a rising lava level stage where, you race the lava and then you ride the lava, sort of Castle Crush style. The only question left. Also, it uses the blink blocks to keep things pretty harrowing for a while, since you can't get too far ahead of the lava. See here? Can't get ahead. Gotta wait. Pretty nice, no? The only remaining question now about the Japan setup is, like, how good the Wi-Fi will be, how good the internet will be in Japan, which I will say I will have a 10 gigabit network egg that I can use up to 10 gigabits of wirelessly wherever I go in Japan a day before it, like, gets rate limited, which is good unless I end up using it all before the stream, in which case I'll have to rely on hotel Wi-Fi, which, you know, we'll see if it's good enough for a stream. Worst come to worst, I could pre-record and then upload after. Hey, that shortcut is really risky, but I was able to get it working. Nice. Sometimes I wonder if that shortcut works at all. It's so it'll kill you enough of the time. The other thing that's worth noting.
Oh no!
The other thing that's worth noting, first death there. The other thing that's worth considering about, like, the laptop setup. We'll go the other way this time. The other way thing that's worth considering about the laptop setup is, like, space to set up in the hotel rooms. I did say I thought I was good, because I remembered in the last hotels, last time, 5-6 years ago, there was kind of more or less enough space to set up things across, like, a wide table. Honestly, right now, I'm only using up about half of... Crap. Only using about half of my, kitchen table. My kitchen table. It's, like, you know, it's maybe as long as my arms are, the table is, and I'm using up maybe, like, if I reach with one hand and had my other side of my body be the other divider, that's about as far as the setup goes. Honestly, if you're just counting the laptop and the stuff, you know, stuff that couldn't be on the ground or something, then it's even more compact. I think in most of the places, based on the photos of the hotel rooms, I should be fine. I will say I did notice after being asked about it on the last stream, I did notice the Osaka one. The Osaka room does have a very, very, very small table, which looks like, yeah, probably only big enough for, like, a laptop screen. In which case, like, maybe we'll have to improvise and do something else. You know what I mean? I'll have to, like, take one of those little stool stand things that you can put your luggage on, and maybe set that up for the portable monitor right beside the table. Maybe I could stream it off the bed instead. There are concerns, but look, I'm gonna be in, for the Osaka location, I'm gonna be in there for a bit before that happens. Looks like the frame rate did dip a little bit below 60 during some of that. Weird. But not that far below. I will be in Osaka for a while, so I'll be able to know, like, I'll have time to think and figure out what I'm going to do. And, you know, when I get to any hotel, you know, I set up my setup, you know, I set up my stuff. I figure out where I'm going to put things. I figure out how I'm going to laptop while I'm there. How I'm going to relax. Watch stuff on the YouTube and the Crunchyroll and stuff. Gonna have a VPN this time. Excited to be able to watch anime whilst I'm there. I will say, though, I do expect to fall behind. I am not going to, like, prioritize keeping up with the anime on a day-to-day basis whilst in Japan. I'll also say, I imagine the length of the streams from Japan will be shorter. Will be like maybe an hour or two, hopefully, ideally. I can't imagine wanting to do like a knockout, drag-out, 3, 4, 5-hour stream whilst doing tourism the next day. By the way, this level is based around getting a cape in sort of a Metroidvania style, and then you literally fly to the end. It's a neat idea. Was the 12th Mario Maker 1 level I ever made. Was made for a competition, for like a blind race. And I remember watching that race and realizing, like, oh, one of the racers, you know, never played Mario World before, never played the original Mario World, didn't know really how to fly. So it was kind of harrowing after everyone else had finished the whole race, you know, like 10 courses, to watch this one guy just try to figure out how to fly over and over again, you know. I think at the time, it was a very much like a, go, you can do it type situation. Everyone in chat was very encouraging, and when eventually he did do it, it was a big moment. This was the first water level I ever made, by the way, and it uses like a... I just knocked over my water. I wonder if that was audible. And it uses a pseudo-vertical setup where you go room to room to room, basically going up as you go. It also uses a bunch of... The reason why is that I realized that swimming upward was faster than swimming side to side, so I figured build a level around that. Also, have these boosty things to also increase the speed of going the other which ways, which I think were good designs that basically hold up and continue to be great ways to do water levels in general. It's almost a shame, honestly, that I've never done like a straight up... Well, actually, hang on, no. One of the water levels I did in the Super World was in a vertical subworld and does have vertical bits, but you could just literally do a full-on vertical water level without much side-to-side stuff, and I think it'd be pretty good. Maybe a missed opportunity. Water levels are such a weird thing. It took me until like checkpoints were introduced into Mario Maker 1 for me to want to do one, for me to get around to cracking that nut, and I think this level did crack that nut, and in such a way that I am still very proud of it. I'm very proud of this level. I think it's great.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
Furthermore, on the Yeti Nano topic earlier, I will say I added a noise reduction filter on it. I don't believe it's a problem with the microphone itself, more that because of the laptop setup, and frankly, the laptop is blowing air, is venting right next to the microphone, so I did have to add some noise cancellation to make sure that that didn't pick up. Seemingly, though, it's not having an effect on, like, CPU usage, and so long as that's the case, I think it sounded good in my initial test. Hopefully it continues to sound good now. I will say, as far as other things I could do to reduce... If I wanted to reduce, like, the performance overhead more, I could also, like, what's the word? Right now I record locally in a higher quality than I actually stream out. Maybe that's doubling the amount of work OBS has to do, though. And maybe if performance is an issue, just recording in the same thing that's going out might just improve everything about it. By the way, this is another of those levels that uses that gimmick, the spring gimmick. Like I said, it was used in my first proper level that I ever did back in Mario Maker 1. And I decided to use it in the first level of my first Super World back in Mario Maker 1, which is in fact this level right here. It was part of a ski lodge world where everything was sort of themed like a ski lodge. It was in the airship theme in the original Super Mario Maker. For 2, put it in the snow theme because, well, that just makes sense. It's a good change to make. The only thing that was weird about translating it is the springs work slightly differently. The spring trick to, like, bounce a enemy across a gap used to work with mushrooms as well. It no longer does, so I had to change some things to make certain parts of the level make sense. Unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? This one is another level that was in the original Super World, the River Kicks. Though I didn't call it... Fuck. The last one I called, Avalanche Lodge. What was it called? Avalanche Lodge, Cabin Fervor. That's it. That was the world name and also the level name. And this one I just call it the River Kicks because Igneous Park is... It didn't feel like that. Same death. I didn't feel like that added to the name as much as Avalanche Lodge did. Whereas if that one was just Cabin Fervor, it just you wouldn't be able to figure out what it meant. What does Cabin Fervor mean? When you emphasize that it's a ski lodge, you might be able to connect the dots and go like, oh, like a ski lodge, yeah, that's a cabin. Like a cabin in the, up in the mountains. Like cabin fever. The joke is that they're getting jumpy because they got cabin fever. Or cabin fervor, if you rather. This is a lava jungle, and it's set up where if you have boots, you can bounce across the guys, and if you don't, there's vines. I think it is quite nicely themed to make both sides look like quite nice options. Also, I love these big fucking Koopas with things on them to bounce off of. That's just an S-tier bit of design. For these, like, Super Mario Maker 1 remakes, I decided to go for basically my favorites of each archetype, you know. Or like the most notable, let's say. Maybe not favorites. And I decided on those 4. To this day, I'm satisfied with those 4. Though, it does make me sad to think that the other ones are now lost to time, except for that one stream where I played them all in a row. Lost to time except for one stream where I showed them all. I think I showed them all on one stream. I forget when I did that. Maybe that was back before I was archiving streams or something. Or maybe it was a big event stream, I forget. But point is, it's cool. We're out of the remix now. We're on to just regular-ass levels. And this was the first one I made after, you know, the Mario 3D Land series with those levels. And also those, remake levels. We're about, like, 30 minutes into this. And we've done, like, 10 or so? Okay. I'm curious, like, how long it'll take to do the rest. I'll say a couple of them are short levels. And maybe that'll help us, get there, but we'll see. This level is inspired by Creeping Clasps. The DKC3 level where there's guys, and you sort of have to juke them to get up through the, lines, all the levels of ropes. The claps are running back and forth on the thing. I'll say, by the way, another note, I didn't turn off the auto-tracking from the, my laptop's camera. I think that it's perfectly fine so long as, like, everything's working. Which, again, yeah, I think it is now. Refresh my lives, and let's go. A lot of these, you won't believe this, a lot of these levels have DKC inspirations. This one, Snoop and Sesame, is inspired by Doorstop Dash. You hit a thing, and then a timer starts based on a shell, and you have to get through the door before before it closes on you. Which I think is pretty cool. The inside has like a pseudo underground section with like waterfalls for theming. I think it's nice. I do regret a little bit putting that 10 coin on a rail dropping down. It just makes it so that you want to rush through the previous section and punishes you as you don't. It'd be nice, though, if you had the Spike Hat to just be able to spend some time under those guys and just bop them. You know, bop them with the Spike Hat. It's also cool to jump off those Goombas as they're popping out of their pipes. Feel like... I don't know if it's as natural as it looks, as it's as natural as it is to me, but I feel like other people probably can also manage it reasonably enough of the time. The Seam of Dreams is the next one. I should probably be saying these the level names more, but I'm not. This level is a shooting level. It's sort of like a Squawks Shaft type level. And it has a gimmick. The gimmick is the underground area is upside down. The idea is sort of it's like a Cthulhu type situation where you're flying, where you're where everything being upside down, disorienting, is part and parcel with the influence of the beastie, you know? Also, it's cool because, gameplay-wise, it's the same as normal, because... It's the same as normal gameplay-wise, because upside-down controls are the same as upside-up controls for flying. Also, you can see here, there's some Koopas, and if you shoot them down, their cannonballs fall. This section was specifically inspired by the rope level from DKC 1, where you go across the rope and a bunch of neckies come at you all at once. Same concept, really. Except in this case, you get to shoot them, which is fun. Really, there's no point to shooting those guys, but it's fun to do. And I do think it's neat to see their cannonballs fall upward as you do it. Almost something to watch out for as you're going down, you know, you're gonna have to... They sort of are in the way longer than it would be if you were actually flying upwards. Don't really have much to say about this one. I played this one on the last viewer level stream, so, you know, it's a nice little traditional level where the, you know, where you jump off fish, I guess. And there's some stuff with, like, overworld, subworld. The two of them being one of them night, one of them not. Just for theming and also so that you could have some fun fish stuff to do. There's also the anchors, the namesake anchors, which I thought was a fun way to do those tilty platforms. Obviously, you can jump across lots of those gaps without waiting for fish. It's just, I'll say I do think it feels good to go with the fishes. Feels good to do. Okay. Another level down.
Oh yeah, Mario time.
I would say, as far as like world record goes, a lot of the levels are around a minute long. 45 seconds or so. So at the right speed, maybe we could have been done in like an hour. It's hard to say. It's also hard to remember like how far we are in. We're sort of going through like years of the first couple years of Mario Maker here, just like phases of my making prowess. This is the first time that I used a clear check since that Delfino Plaza level, and you can see I used it in a 20-second context, where basically this is like halfway between a bonus level DKC style and a 20-second level. And I'll say I found that format to be very successful. For every single clear condition level after this point, that is the format. It's a 20-second level with a clear condition. That's more bonus stage than normally a 20-second level is. I'll say I don't think any of them are in my first 40, though. Was it 40 or 30? You know what? I did say 40, but I'm now thinking about it. I think I only got to 30 before it was time to move on to doing the Super World. Basically around like 20 or so, the Super World feature came out, and I was like, ooh, I still have things I want to make. Is that right? 68 is how many that I have now, right? If it's 68, 30 plus 38 from the Super World. Yeah, there's 30 before the Super World. Whoops, I miscounted. You know what? Since I'm on the I can just turn that 40 to a 30 right now, and then update the stream title. And now no one has to know that I miscounted. I can do it on the YouTube side as well. There we go. 30. And change the description as well. 30. Okay. That doesn't change the thumbnail, but whatever. That's fine. I should talk about this level. Hey, this is the first of a series I did trying to make use of the night themes I hadn't yet made use of. Wind, low gravity, darkness, and ice. I mean, I had used darkness before, but I didn't really use it properly. It was practically a light level, but only, but a light level, but shit. It was more of a light level than anything that just happened to be in the dark, I guess. As like a theme. I wanted to actually use the darkness in a level, and that was one of the ones that's upflowing. And ice. Did I say ice? Ice is one of the 4. This was a whole endeavor, a series of dark levels, and each of them is themed to be like something, literally the inspiration from DKC series. This one is obviously the wind archetype is only usable. The wind is only usable in desert levels, but with some clever theming, I have made the desert into a forest, into an autumnal forest, and that sort of matches up with Gusty Glade. I also used like a lot of very sharp platform design where basically there's breaks if you want them to be. You can't always just slide off a ledge if you're not careful. Also, the vines will arrest your wind-based movements, which I thought was good ways to lean into it. You'll also see, by the way, Zero G Refinery, one of my top stages ever. So, another triumph of making it work. I've now made 2 low G stages, and I'll say I'm proud of them both. This is the first one, though, and, you know, predates the other one by a matter of, like, 5 years. Not sure if leaning back is really bad for, audibility. Audibility? Being audible, but I probably should lean more forward. For this one, I figured out that lower ceilings, and bonking specifically, was actually a good thing in low gravity. And basically that could speed up the gameplay and make it feel more snappy if every time you jump you hit your head and then you fall back down faster than normal. Also, I built stuff around sliding because sliding is just as fast in low gravity as it is in high regular gravity. I also thought these guys were neat to play with in low gravity, since you can kind of go under them a little more than you can in regular gravity. Also, the inspiration here was very clearly Low G Labyrinth from DKC3. That's a level set in a pipe, in a pipe maze. So this is an industrial plant where, yes, at a certain point you go into the pipes. You go into the inner workings of the thing. Very good. I'll also say, by the way, of the mic setup, I did have to add a little bit of gain to make it as loud as the normal Blue Yetis are. I think it sounded good, though. I think it sounded good in my testing, and hopefully to y'all it is as well. More or less the same as before, though maybe eventually we'll try messing with it, tweaking the volume one way or the other. This is Power Out Bout. Blackout Basement is the inspiration there. You can see that, like a Blackout Basement, the lights turn on and off. Unlike Blackout Basement, it's a platform level, so I have the unique ability to time it such that you are shown the obstacles in the dark and then have to deal with them in the light. So, truth be told, this is like a more fair version of Blackout Basement. A little bit nicer, a little bit more reasonable. Hey, Sapphire, Jack, Aquamaster. I'm doing a technical test, testing out the laptop setup, and new mic, whole bunch of stuff. I think it's working really well, and when I go to Japan in the near future, I'll be able to do stuff with it. It's themed to a factory, by the way, if you can't tell. There's, like, factory lights up there, and outside, you can sort of see some raindrops happening. I am quite proud of the theming of this, and in fact, all of these night levels. They are all fantastic, and I'm proud of the work done here by me to figure out these archetypes and make them work. My next level is a dark level as well, of course, so I need to figure out some new things and make that fun and satisfying. I also like these parts where they dump a bunch of enemies on you. That will always amuse me. It's almost a jump scare in how you can't see them coming until they're just about to fall. You're testing your new, you're almost finished testing your new troll level? Fantastic, can't wait to see it. That'll be on Friday, next viewer level stream. I think we're coming up We're getting down to it, folks. I have not been counting, but there's not that many levels left. Maybe like 10 or so. I think we'll finish up going through all these soonish. I'll say after I... By the way, this is an ice level, a slippery level, where I use these sleds with a chain chomp pole at the end to like serve as natural brakes, and I think that's really fun. I also get to use the ice pokies, which were new at the time. Was the Zelda update also the Super World update? I forget how that rolled out, but it's around this... Whenever that update was, I had to deal with the fact that, you know, I wasn't quite... I wanted to finish off a bunch of ideas that were non-Super World-y before getting into Super World, so I ended up starting my Super World like a year or two after they went, that feature went live. And I'm still not finished today, so go figure. Super Worlds are hard. This one is inspired by the popsicle level from DKC Tropical Freeze. By the way, that's the touch point here. A bunch of blueberries and popsicles is the gimmick. And factory looking stuff. Again, with the factories. Different kind of factory. I am scratching my back. I'll say, sitting on a non-cushy chair, you know, it makes me understand a bit why someone would love couches so much. Dated humor. Those, it feels like already we've moved on from those jokes that were the Friday... part of the Friday thing. Turns out that dude there's so many dumb things about him that already we're almost moved on from dolphins now. It's now about monkey testicles. Go fucking figure. These ones are real. Also, this is one of my most popular levels, and might be in the shooing for my best level ever. Might be in the running for. It's a hybrid level, water level, sort of inspired by like DKC2, where you can see when I cross through the pipe, I end up on a reconstruction of the area above the pipe. Only now the water level rises and pretty quickly fills the area that was unfilled in the overworld. And you can sort of see it sort of makes the illusion that it's happening naturally. Like in DKC2's, trigger-based water levels. I call this a trigger-based water level, even though that's kind of a trick. I'll say, this was one of the hardest levels to do, just getting the illusion right. Making sure that it all looked the same on either side of the divide. And also, making it look right on either side of the divide, making it feel good, and fitting that all into an overworld and a subworld. It's hard enough to make an overworld a subworld of some length, even harder when, like, half of a screen on either side of each segment has to be dedicated to just a silly illusion. But I think this level more than pulls it off. Also, you have to make sure that every segment is long enough where you can't get in the pipe before the water level's all the way up. I think it really pulls it off, and I think it's like the... Technically, one of the ones I am most impressed with, most proud of, and also as a level, I am very proud of it as well. You can see, by the way, if you look at these dates, we're going forward and forward and forward in time. These first ones were pretty much constant making up to Fair and Floodway. Then I took 5 months off between that and Homespun Galaxy, the first Mario Maker 2 hiatus I ever did for like making purposes anyway. And you know, sometimes you run out of energy and you need to replenish by taking a break. And yeah, when I came back, I had this very lovely low gravity, not low gravity, but low gravity for enemies level where you got all these planetoids and it's very galaxy inspired. Very galaxy. The snake blocks were inspired by like the parts where you're riding on, where you're like flying via star. So I thought that was a fun way to represent it. And like getting star bits as you go. Also in the fact that there's this red coin hunt right here where it's I didn't say this week. I played this one on stream earlier this week. I didn't say this, but a lot of the reason that I did a 5-coin star coin hunt here, red coin hunt here, is because these star piece hunts in Galaxy involve you collecting 5 pieces of the star and then, you know, going to it to blast off. Those semi-solids are supposed to represent the star launcher that forms. See? Makes sense. Makes sense, right? At this point, every set of levels comes in a set of 5. Pretty much. I forget, like, which one is the start or end of a set, but I did want to make all 5 of the different styles equal. That was a little bit of a challenge because 3D World had, like, 4 right up front, you know, and that meant that it had to skip a couple of rotations before everything was evened up, but I think by this point, everything just about is. This is the first time I'm using one of the helmets, which was, I guess, introduced in a patch around this time. Particularly the Bullet Bill helmet. I did a bunch of cool stuff where, you know, you can use it to get extra stuff. Wanted to make a traditional version of it, while still making it challenging, while still making it fun. The coins sort of encourage a very dangerous path, basically just flying right over the Koopas, which I think makes it fun. It's fun to have coins be somewhere that's a little bit more risky than the absolute safest place that you can platform. This is also the first time I'm using bullies. And I think maybe one of the only times I have not, I'll admit, used bullies that often. I don't think they've come up in the Super World yet, which makes me think they should probably be in the next level, which will be the last level of it. 3D World has so many things, it's hard in, like, 40 levels Super World, 8 levels, I guess. 40 divided by 5, that's 8. 8 levels to use every single unique thing that it has, but, well, you know, mostly just focusing on making fun levels and not checking off boxes. But, you know, I would like to check out those boxes if possible, truth be told. It just makes sense to drop off those boxes. Give me my water. Wrecking Ball Hall. I said this one is up there for, like, my favorite levels. And I think that's right. I think this one is just really damn solid. It's not all that special, honestly. The gimmick is just that you have these spikes, and they are set up such that when they throw their spike balls, they destroy a lot of the platforms that you have to use. So, you sort of have to act fast, you sort of have to keep moving, and if you don't, you will find yourself without a platform to stand on. solid-ass design right here. My ass is sore. You can see this whole section, 3 blocks worth of height, is destroyed by that. Also, those 2 coins, those 2 blocks there, as it's falling off. That also is temporary. That also gets destroyed. A lot of really good, clean design here. Here you have to use it to get through. That sort of sets up something that'll be important later. There's a race, or at least it seems, and then you can sort of tell you have to drop down, you know, follow the coins. And now, you gotta wait. And get over once the on-off is triggered. Ooh. Really clean design, really good shit. One more of those little tricks here. Once that spike ball is through, you can get down to the X, and there you have it. GG says Corn. H Cornadius. This is a test stream, by the way, Corn. I'm testing the laptop setup. Why don't I show the laptop setup again? Sure. It looks like, No, that's right. It's not that button anymore. I remember I put it on the photo gallery thing, which I'll say is probably going to be the main thing that I use for when I'm in Japan, rather than the one-off images. Do like some photo gallery type shit. But yeah. How you doing, Corn? So I'm playing through all 30 of my original levels before Super World to test and make sure that it performs good. No, like, framiness. No, like, the Stream Deck works good. This level is a level such that if you go and do a on-off switch, it'll make the level easier for you by enabling these blocks. If you don't, it'll be a little bit harder. Let's do the harder version. We want to go fast here. We'll save time by doing the harder version of the level and not activating the Switch Palace. It's a good gimmick. It's a good gimmick, though. You know what? Now that we've seen the hard version, why don't we show the actual gimmick now? And this time we'll do it the easy way. Was inspired, obviously, by Mario World for this level. Mario World and its Switch Palaces. I thought that was just a really good... And also how Mario World uses the Switch Palace blocks. This area here, this area to the left, right out of DKC, that is some, what's it called? Ice Age Alley? Ice Age Alley type shit. You can get a Yoshi if you bear left, which is fun. Another thing about this is that if you get the checkpoint versus not, it saves your on-off status at the on-off. Here, getting the Yoshi Sword slows you down a little bit, which gives that guy time to appear. Yup. I've heard some people say that these like layered claws are weird to them. And they don't quite work as well as they did for me, but in my testing, they worked pretty well, so there you go. I like them. You can see that without the blocks, there's a bunch of, like, disconnected little platforms. With the blocks, they're often more just one big platform. Also, with those last fireball guys, you have to platform above them rather than through them, which I think is interesting as well. Hey, Diego. It's a test stream. I'm testing out the laptop setup and making sure it's working nice. And to do so, I'm doing all my levels. I think we're in the last couple. I think we're nearing the end here. I remember this one, Ramparts Unknown, was one of the last... Trying to think if this is the last Super Mario Brothers level I did before my Super World. But you just create a boss rush level. That's cool, man. Can't wait to see it on Friday. But yeah, this level, by the way, inspired by Conveyor Belt Clash from Conveyor Rope Clash from DKC3. You know, you go on, you're platforming along conveyor belt that are taking you through some difficult parts. Honestly, there's parts right here that are right out of Conveyor Rope Clash. Very directly inspired by. To the point where the part of the second half mix-up is that there are sometimes platforms that go against you, and you have to just keep on jumping, rather than just riding it, which is also a thing that Conveyor Belt Clash did. Conveyor Rope Clash did, coincidentally. I feel like where I'm at in my Super World right now, I've more or less run out of DKC levels to, like, be directly inspired by, I guess, you know? Like, with a lot of these early ones, pre-Super World and even mid-Super World, I can point to a specific level and go like, yes, I was trying to make my version of Conveyor Belt Clash or Blackout Basement or this or that. The last few, though, some of the last few have been just like, no, I wanted to make an original level, and this is what came out. Well, I guess the rainbow level that I did was kind of a reverse Squawk Shaft with the Squawks part first. And I guess, or sort of inspired by the DK3 levels that are that way. Yeah, there's 3 more left. There's 3 more left. And the Sun level was inspired by a little bit of Clobber's Carnage. I guess there are still pretty direct comparisons for most of my stages recently, other than like a couple. This one was a riverbank hybrid water level. This one was inspired by the riverbank levels. In particular, the thing about them where, 1, there's some passages that go through the riverbanks, and 2, because of this tire gimmick, the land parts and the water parts are pretty disconnected, you know, they're pretty vertically separated. You have to go pretty far up to get from the water to the land, which I think is, I think that's neat. Some of these are not inspired by specific levels, but more just, yeah, I want to make, like, this archetype, you know? And to do that, I'll do stuff like this, where, yeah, no, there's parts of those riverbanks levels where you just swim through a narrow passage exactly like that. You know, I want to make like a rigging level. I'll try to match the archetypical platform design and make it feel like that. Give the vibes, you know? I'll say if you're really good, you can get Frog here. I didn't do a good job, but there it is. Ooh, here's the thing that you can do if you're skilled. Using this shell, you can get a star, and with the star, check this shit out. You can go in the water and and deal with these bones. I guess another thing about, like, some DKC3 levels is there's big parts where you can't swim in the water, so putting a bunch of dry bones in there just makes the water inaccessible in a similar way. Also, that one might be my favorite name of a level, Slapdash Splash, because it's a rhyme and it's an alliteration. I think that's just golden. There's some stuff later on that's similar in my Super World, I guess, as far as names go, but that's definitely one of the best names, I think, personally. It's good to have a good mix of rhymes, alliterations, and others, and having both in one, that's fantastic. Hey, this theming might be familiar if you played through my Super World. I also use this theming in Meteor Meltdown, of this, like, temple facade thing. Bouncing off guys between, bits of temple, I think is cool. Yeah. Enough said. It's also cool that once you get this, this power-up here, it's sort of a liability, you know, it's killing these guys as you're jumping across. Whereas previously, that's not what it was doing. I just think that's neat. It can also bounce off the hammers that those guys throw, which is convenient. Bonus exit. I forgot that the shell makes a weird boom, 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 boom noise. I feel like I've never registered that before. That is odd. Do y'all recognize that boom, boom, boom noise? That sounds really odd. We are now to the final level that I made before my Super World. This one was inspired, sort of a pseudo-sequel to, like I said earlier, that my first level that I ever made in Mario Maker 1 that had a really good gimmick that I would call a great level used this gimmick here. It was called March of the Wayward Spiny. This is Return of the Wayward Spiny, and sort of takes those ideas and expands it into more of a full length, actually a little longer than full length, an above average long level, and you can see the gimmick there. It's pretty good. In this one, not only are there spinies, but also bombs, which give you something fun to throw at the spiny guys. Also, I make use of the donuts now. It was just a thematic thing in the original Return of the Wayward, or the original March of the Wayward Spiny. Now it's gameplay. Also, you go outside, and it's snowy outside. You go up on the ramparts and stuff, which I think is just really cool. That would have been good if I hadn't taken a hit. If you time that right, the shell takes the shellmet takes care of that fucker, which is nice. Or you could use skill to avoid it. Either or. Whatever. It's one of my favorite levels that I've made, and yeah, proud as hell of it. It is also one of the few levels that I've done that has a 3 checkpoint, has a 3 checkpoints in it. I was gonna say a 3 checkpoint system, but that doesn't make sense. It has 3 checkpoints, or no, that's not right. It has 3 segments. It has 2 checkpoints. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Basically, you gotta put a checkpoint before this outdoor section, and then it's so long, and there's like a gimmick here in a second. You hit an on-off here, and by the way, look at this little trick here. Hidden 50 up here. I put these mushrooms behind the blocks like that, so that they would always be accessible even if you had a spike hat, which destroys blocks rather than hitting them. I also thought it was fun, as a thing for a level to do, as opposed to the normal way of giving the things. Once you get here, you do a ride back to get back to the start, and of course the on-off is in the other position. You're able to go down, and there's one more checkpoint. I can't, in good conscience, have players do that that raft ride again. It just doesn't make sense. You'll see now in this final section a few bullet bills get mixed in just as normal guys, in addition to after their like midway appearance, and there's some final stuff and one last series of big spinies going across where you have to just weave through and stand on a thing long enough to get to the end. Beautiful. Beautiful. I absolutely think that is one of my top levels. And that does it. That's all 30 levels that I did before the Super World started. That took about an hour or so. Very good. Very good. I hope to see that that it all worked. I would like to test a few more things real quick. First off, I'd like to just do a quick test of some alert stuff that I have. I tested this off stream, and it was seeming to work. But let me show you a few things. Okay. So obviously, you know the follower. By the way, it's going to be emulated right now. These are not real alerts. You know the follower one, right? Oh, let me mute this so I don't hear the emulated version. There's also the sub.
Thank you.
Again, emulated. 16 months, that's a little unrealistic. I'll also say there's a whole additional... I'm going to boot up Bowser's Fury because that's the one I tested on last time and it was struggling with. Let's see if that works better now. I have a whole custom alert thing set up where basically up to 100... Basically, if someone were to do a community gift, sub gift, it would trigger a number of rockets to fly across the screen in accordance with how many people were in the sub. So let's do as a test here, 50. So let's say if test donates 50 subs, 50 rockets would fly across. Now, on my old PC, this killed it. Every time a sub happened, it would be performant and weird. There'd be drops in frame rates. The alerts would be weirdly laggy. And as far as I can tell, they work great here. So I'm thinking I won't have to do something like disable those or make it so that they're not on. Here, I'll do a raid one for 50. Raids also have a similar effect, but with little mini rockets, which are cool. Based on the number of viewers that the raid includes, which I'm quite proud of. That all seems to be working great. Hey, let's go. We already tested I already tested the Pikmin, though the Pikmin audio is not working. You know, I can probably fix that right now, actually. Let me go into the advanced sound settings and have a look at that. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to go into all sound devices. No, that's not it. I'm going to go into the volume mixer. I'm going to go to the Twitch integrated throwing system. And I'm going to tell it to output to Yeti Nano. And then I'm going to set up the... let's see, where is the stream audio MISC monitor capture? For this laptop, that's going to be the Yeti Nano. Oh, you might have heard some weird echo there as two things were capturing the same audio. Or, rather, it was capturing my audio that was going out to me. Ha! It's a good thing I changed that before it got all horrible. Okay, let's see. You should be able to hear this now. The aim is way off. The aim is way off there. I'll have to have a look at that off stream. It's probably because, quite simply, the resolution of the laptop is not a different... It's a different aspect ratio than the computer. So I'm going to need to adjust that later on. That's something to keep in mind, but not a deal breaker. I think that's fine. I'll also say the Stream Deck phone solution worked great during that whole bit. I was able to do all my hotkeys reasonably quickly. You can see there I can switch between dockets at the normal rate. That is all very solid. I'm just gonna do a tiny bit of Bowser's Fury. Let's just see. We've just tested some odds and ends. Now let's Oh wait, there's a Bowser's Fury category individually on Twitch. I didn't know that. We've tested now some odds and ends. I'm just gonna play a tiny bit of this game just to see if the capture card handles it and everything else at the same time, just as well as it did before. My initial test, I was seeing it handle it okay. I am seeing it drop from 60 to like 57, 58. CPU is about like 50%. Okay, for 3D games, the laptop is still going to have a problem if like things are constantly moving, is what I'm learning. But it's not as bad as it was, I think, on the last Wednesday technical tests where things were a lot more screwy. Things were a lot more weak. I'm just gonna, let's warp somewhere and have some good old-fashioned gameplay. Let me just get like a star or something, or a cat shine, as they're called. I haven't been to that one in this file. Can I not warp to the bell there? I gotta warp to the levels? Let's go to that one over there, and we'll do some just regular-ass gameplay, and we'll see how it holds up. It's looking to me like it's a little laggy, little latent, but it's maybe not as bad as it was last time. Also, I am curious. Oh, by the way, the sound. How's the sound here? You know what? This is a great chance to test out the, Don't fireball me, man. I'm trying to change sound settings. Okay, this is a great chance to try. Okay, that hotkey works to modify sound levels. I'll say, for those Japan streams, my current intent is to just do viewer levels, lightning round style. Nothing too fancy. You know, nothing like, random other games, though. I don't know, maybe if viewer levels doesn't work out, or if, like, the internet connection isn't as good as it would need to be to do viewer levels, and I just have to do something pre-recorded, maybe I could end up doing something else, like, let's say, for sake of example, Legend of Zelda, or the stage thing. What's it called? Echoes of Wisdom, that's it. Maybe I could do Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom as the thing I play while I tell y'all about my vacation. Come September, October. It'll be out by then. You know, it'll be out, like, I think before I go, even. Or, what is the release date for that? Don't Google it right now. If anyone in chat knows what day it's coming out specifically, all I know is September. I don't know if that's like September 13th or September 26th. I think it's before. I think it's like the 13th or something. But I could be wrong. Personally, I like the idea of the viewer levels idea because, you know, kind of my most popular content. And I would like to tell... I would like there to be more people for when I talk about all the things I'm up to whilst in Japan. That just makes sense. That's just rational. This is a nice level, though. It is a bit of an auto-scroller, kinda. Oh, you know what? There are all these things we could be collecting along the way. If I had the presence of mind to be keeping an eye out for them. I think that one was the last one, so we shouldn't be seeing any more of them from where we are. There must be a way to get to that platform without going through this whole process. There must be a shortcut there. That's right, you put him into the pipe, and then he becomes small, and... Interesting way to do a bully. I guess if you don't have the... How do you push him into the pipe if you don't have Cat Mario? And you can't use a attack, I wonder. Maybe Bowser Jr. does it for you? I don't know. There we go. We went through this one area, and that was fun. There's a Bowser shine in that little Bowser hole there. I'm gonna go grab my Bowser, and you won't be able to hear me while I do so. I guess we can test a break real fast. I can test a break just to see that that works, and that it pauses the VOD and unpauses it smoothly. Yeah, let's do that as a quick test, and then I'll get Bowser here. It'll make it really terrible for a bit, and we'll get that one shine, and that'll be that'll be it. And we'll be finishing well in time for me to watch House of the Dragon at the House of the Dragon hour. Perfect. All right, that seems to have worked, I think. Maybe when I look back on the VOD, I'll see like maybe half of my all right was clipped off. I do need to make sure that I am being audible again. Yes, I am. I'm going to have to change the name of Yeti Nano so that it appears in my mixer without me having to scroll down. That is a thing to note about this setup. There's some minor things that can be improved here, but basically, I think this has went great. And for the purposes that I intend to stream with, I think this works really well. It seems like it does drop in frame rate a little bit. It's not a steady 60, but it's not that far off. Also, maybe I could try not archiving in full quality and having to encode things twice. Yeah, that would probably double the, that would probably get rid of half the work that OBS has to do. Wouldn't it, if I did it like that? Let's make Bowser appear and see what happens. The Bowser stuff in this is, you know, Bowser's Fury. It's probably hell on like, processing. And is a particularly good test of, like, you know, stress. Seen them handle it all right. I mean, I guess I didn't give it that much time to really, like, break or anything, but I'm not gonna fight the full Bowser boss fight again. That's silly. That just end the game. That's just the ending of Bowser's Fury. at this point. Hey, maybe it's also, who knows, maybe it could be the game that's lagging up, not the capture card. I don't know. I haven't looked at the, probably is the capture card. Probably is the laptop. Still, for the purposes of Mario Maker 2, it seems great, and yeah. I think that's going to be a test. I think we're done testing now. Um, I was just looking for my phone to do the raid and stuff on, but that's right, I'm using it as my Stream Deck. I'll say one thing I am considering is I could bring an old phone to Japan and have that be the Stream Deck device and still have my phone to do like phone stuff on. I'll also say if I want to wire the Stream Deck connects either through Wi-Fi or through Wi-Fi or through a direct connection, and if both are available, it gets a little bit confused. So in my testing, I think the best thing to do is to connect it directly to the laptop and turn on the plane mode for now. Though while I'm in Japan, maybe I'll connect the laptop to the the Ethernet of the hotel, and then on the phone use the Wi-Fi egg, so they'll be on different networks anyway. And I actually don't know if I'll be able to do Ethernet. Come to think of it, maybe I'll have them not be on the same network anyway, because whatever. But I'll have them be directly connected, which will work great. And so far, anyway, I haven't had any issue with it. It seems very responsive. It seems very good. I'm gonna pull up the schedule there, which you can see now that the OBS setups are desynced from each other. I did not change that setup to be that schedule to be any different from what it was on the last test stream. It's the same as that, even though it changed on the Friday stream. I will need to make sure to rewrite this if ever I do um, streams like this in the future from the laptop, which would be like the Japan trip. Maybe also could be like away from home in other capacities. Who knows? We'll see. But, or like in different parts of the house if that was convenient. Whatever, if that was like fun for some reason. I'll be back on Friday. Friday will be the next stream. It'll be viewer levels as normal, nice and good. There will be Tuesday night variety night streams in the future, but none of them will be tonight. They will not be this week. I'm gonna take this week off from that Tuesday. I will take that this Tuesday off. Hey, Samo. I will take this Tuesday off. I think the text stream went great. It worked really well. I'm about to end so I can watch House of the Dragons now. I'm going to take this Tuesday off from streaming and just enjoy a nice break, considering that I just finished Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and I like to take a break between Let's Plays or whatever. Even though it'll be something else other than Let's Plays on Tuesday for a while until Japan, I'm still going to take next Tuesday off. And maybe the Tuesday after next will be Metroid Dread Randomizer? I'm hoping to get that working. No stream until Friday, specifically. That is correct. We're gonna have a. I'm going to relax this week until Friday for the viewer levels. But I'll say after that, Metroid Dread Randomizer will be in the works. Heroes of the Storm. I want to go back to that for the first time in years. I'll do that at some point. Third thing, Game Pass stream. I'll check out Ace Attorney collection and probably other stuff as well. Those are three things I want to do in the next month and a half before my Japan trip. And I probably will. I'll see you on Friday. Y'all, take it easy. Let me see if I can send anyone on Twitch on a little bit of a raid, as I like to do. Oh, I didn't know if you do it on the computer, it suggests people who are playing the same game as you. which is currently Bowser's Fury, as well as people who you're following. Huh. Oh, I didn't know that that judo is going. I'll send you over to judo. That's perfect. Let's do it. You're talking badly on purpose? Me too. Game Pass stream, you're excited about that? Hell yeah, let's go. I'll say. We'll see how it goes. Game Pass is very easy to do. My Game Pass code is in my stream information. Game Pass stream is really easy to do. I don't know yet how I'm gonna set up the Switch, the Switch emulation for Metroid Dread Randomizer. So we'll see if that's in 2 weeks. And I'd like to get some guests on for Heroes of the Storm. So that might not be immediately. We'll see how that all ends up being scheduled out in the near future. I'll see you on Friday for the Friday stream. And yeah. Bye, folks. Gonna be a nice, slow week for me. Friday, 6 p.m. Central. Viewer levels. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bye bye. Let me send out the raid. And end the stream. Ooh, this is another thing important to test. See if this ends the stream. Okay. 6 p.m. on Friday evening. Bye. And I'll get you in chat, Samo. 6 p.m. Friday. Bye.